Yeah, they're uneducated about the subject. And granted, we all are to a degree, but
Sure.
when you see them missing elementary things, you know.
Well, I think, in Virginia, if you go over 70,
Yeah.
I think it's really serious.
Dear God.
Like, you get points. You can lose your license, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to say, I kind of agree, because I don't trust idiots, not in a disparaging way, just like reckless
Yeah.
young people mostly.
Yeah.
So in terms of the local speed limits, I think they're pretty much right, whether or not the money that's garnered, they don't even have to use money. The point system seems to be fine. And I'm not opposed to taking away somebody's license if they're reckless. I am opposed to checkpoints for like breathalyzers and all that kind of, they do that in some states, randomly start picking people for breathalyzers. And
That's not kosher at all.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But, a lot of these things too, even as a libertarian, like sort of satisfied with the status quo in some respects, just because the issues that I see are the most dangerous are not happening at the state level necessarily. I could be totally wrong about that, actually.
Seems like a management problem,
but
an administration problem.
There should be some diversity in the states, and there is. There's really conservative states, Virginia, really liberal states. I don't know, maybe there's some states where the speed limits just aren't enforced. We're not out there generating thousands of dollars off of, our citizenry. If the money's going to something charitable.
All of these systems that we find ourselves in, you could rail against them, but they've been set up by us for reasons.
There's some things that you could actually change if you really were dedicated.
I think these systems are all appropriate that we have, set up for traffic, all these mundane kind of legislative statutes.
Well, you brought up the money generating issue. So
yeah. When the government is vulturistic, that's the problem.
That's worthy of discussion. But, property taxes, there's just such an overreach just everywhere you look in terms of that.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
And it's because of legislation getting through where you have bureaucrats that are thinking about, what they could squeeze out to fund what they want to fund. And if you have a bleeding heart, legislative branch willing to generate all of these social programs, then you need to fund those somewhere. So you generate, you think, okay, let's punish bad people and make them, like, that's a justification. Like, we can make bad people pay for our new patrol cars and the new technology in our patrol cars. We can make the bad people pay for our education for our kids. And it's like, there's something wrong about, like, when you put it that way, it sounds pretty wrong, If anything, Star Trek universe, we should be rehabilitating these bad people, Everybody acts out because of trauma in their life, Like, if they're not raised appropriately, then they're going to speed on the highway. You have to think about the safety of other people and the respect for other people, and like, that's the kind of guidance that naturally happens in a complete family unit.
Yeah, of course, but that's that's the problem, is that's what we don't have.
Well, that's what society doesn't have. There's too many in society that don't have guidance and don't have leadership, a personal leadership, They're acting out because they're not okay in here. They fake confidence. They, all this attention-seeking social media in our culture, this like pandemic of attention-seeking. Epidemic. I don't know which one. It's global. It seems global. But all this attention seeking is real trauma in these people's lives. I get it. I get it.
But there's 10% of people that
there are 10% of people.
they exist, and there are 10% of them. So expect that.